Hello and welcome to From the Roots Up, where we are building our homestead little by little from the roots up. I'm Kristy, and today we have week 2 of our garden tour. Still not producing a ton, but come along with us and see how far we've come. Before we go into the big garden, let's look around up here and see what all is growing. First of all, we have this beautiful flower that I got on our anniversary trip last year. Instead of getting souvenirs, we decided it would be great to start getting perennials. This is a double daylily, and when this guy opens up, it is just beautiful. It's got furry little fronds and it's double petaled. So this is a beautiful daylily, and I'm so excited that it's finally blooming. And if you notice behind me, I don't have just one green stalk anymore. I have 2. For Mother's Day, my girls got me a second green stalk, one of the originals with the deep pockets. I went ahead and planted these for summer today because our lettuce was starting to get bitter and it was starting to droop in the extreme heat. So in this one over here, I planted all sorts of green beans. Well, I say green beans. Some of them are purple and some of them are pink and some of them are all sorts of fun, but that's what I put in here, bush beans. And then over here in the original planter, we've got peppers in the top. We have some baby bubba okra. Then I have some miniature squash and zucchini in this part down here. And on the very bottom, I have cocozel zucchini that are gonna pour out of the bottom. And I cannot wait to see how things grow in this original green stalk. Over here we've got our garlic, which, like I said last time, is the first thing that we put in, and it's starting to get there. If you can see, some of the leaves are dying back, which is a good sign that it's starting to be mature and ready to go. All right, now let's go down into our big garden. For those of you who are wondering, our big garden is about 100 feet long and about 40 feet deep. So let's go on in. Let's see, we're gonna start on the opposite side that we started on last week, down by the melons. This is our melon patch over here. I know it's odd, we have this beautiful mulched garden, and then we have the melon patch over here with just some landscaping fabric down, weed fabric. But the reason we did this was because we made the garden and we got it all set up, and then I needed fence around it, and we got this electric fence. And when we put it up, we didn't want to cut it or anything, and it stretched out this far, but it was the perfect space to be able to put 2 rows of this weed fabric. So instead of just going and finding more mulch and doing all that, we just put this weed fabric down, and I said, this is gonna be a great melon patch. So this is our melon patch / winter squash patch. And as you can see, look at these melons. They're doing good. I think this is a baby, a sugar baby watermelon here. We have all sorts of cantaloupes and individual melons. And originally we burnt really tiny holes in these, and some of the plants had trouble getting up through them. So I went back and I burnt some bigger holes and replanted where we had trouble with plants coming up. This back row is sunflowers. You can see they didn't really come up here, but down there the sunflowers are doing great. Now Makayla is the one that planted this, which means I'm not exactly sure what is where because she did not take notes of what she put where. So I'm not really sure what these are right here. We'll see, they're growing beautifully. Maybe some cantaloupes. And over here on this end, these are our winter squashes and pumpkins and our beautiful sunflowers over this way. And again, I'm not really sure what is here, but look at this beautiful variegated one. I'd love to know what this is, if you have any ideas. Then back here we have our strawberry patch, and in a heartbreaking turn of events, our strawberry patch was invaded by deer and they ate almost all of the strawberries. We got the electric fence up and we have a vicious guard dog now. I say that tongue in cheek because he is a giant teddy bear. But he's been keeping the deer out. So hopefully we can replant some strawberries. We have a few left, but most of them got eaten. And other than needing weeding, the asparagus patch is doing well. You can see all of our little asparagus shoots coming up. And it'll be a few years till we can harvest these, but it's gonna be a big, beautiful patch once we get it going. Here we have glass gem corn, and you can look at some of these down here growing nicely. Some of this is grass. It's hard for me to tell, but I can start to tell now that the glass gem corn is getting bigger. Then I replanted on this end, and as you can see, it's coming up, the little bitty babies, because this end, I don't know if it washed out or what happened, but it wasn't germinating. Then next we have our dahlia beds. And most of these dahlias we raised from seeds. There are a few dahlias back here that we bought, and we didn't have really good luck because the clay with our dahlia tubers. One of the dahlias I especially was heartbroken about was called Makayla Miranda. We got because of our little Makayla, but thankfully we ordered it from Swan Island Dahlias, and they were Johnny on the spot replacing it. They have a guarantee, and they sent us a new one just last week. This time we have a few tubers that we're going to plant. We ordered them. Last week was the end of the season sale at Swan Island, and they were selling everything 30% off. We ordered a few new ones, and so what we're going to do instead of just putting the tubers straight in the ground is we're going to go ahead and sprout them in pots to make sure that we get good progress before we just stick the tubers in the ground. And as you can see, these ones we grew from seed, they are doing beautifully. These dahlias are going to get maybe 4 to 5 feet tall and just produce the most beautiful blooms. But the thing with growing them from seeds is it's like a grab bag, and you never know what you're going to get. So it's going to be an exciting adventure to see what kind of seeds we have. And here we have our row of onions all the way down to the end. It needs weeded a little bit, but they look like they're doing great. We've got some zinnias over here. We have zinnias scattered throughout the whole garden, over here and some other flowers that are Makayla's. If you notice, we don't have as many blooms as we did last week because Makayla had to cut farmers market bouquets today. And I'll go in and show you some of those when we're done out here. These were just some extra pepper plants I had, miscellaneous bell peppers. I had these left over from selling them, and they got too big to stay in pots, and so I needed somewhere to put them. So I just stuck them in in our garden since I couldn't sell them. Here we have Taylor's potatoes, and as you can notice, they're getting yellow. I need to research and see what I can do. I don't know if that's a nitrogen deficiency or if they're getting too much water, but we got to figure out how to solve that problem for her. Here is my trellis for my noodle beans, and as you can see, they're coming up and they're starting to reach for the trellis. Now, as they reach for the trellis, we'll go ahead and let them latch on the taller they get, but I've got tons of these coming up. And I have some bachelor's buttons down there. As you can tell, we're running out of daylight, so I'm gonna go pretty quickly through the last half of this. These guys have been eating my plants alive. If you have any solution to that, let me know. We have a row of tomatoes here. They're still pretty little over here. These are not some that I put eggs underneath. We can see those in a minute. Those are doing great. They're huge and they're bright green and they're wonderful. I will definitely be putting eggs under all my tomatoes from now on. I do have a few little beauties coming out. And looky here, the biggest, most beautiful is my giant crimson. These giant crimson seeds were from M.I. Gardener. He revived this type of tomatoes from pretty much the brink of extinction, and he brought back some really old, like 80-year-old seeds. And I was able to get my hands on some, and they're doing amazingly well. I can't wait to taste these. Here on this trellis, we have snake beans that are gonna grow up the trellis. They're getting tall as well. And look. We have a little Cosmo coming up in there. These are my hot peppers. Some of them are looking a little puny, but I'm really thinking that once the weather gets really hot, which it is, they're gonna do great. This trellis is my purple hull peas, and still I don't see any purple hull pea sprouts. I'm hoping. If not, I may have to replace it with Malabar spinach or something I know, maybe some more runner beans or something I know is going to do good. These are some mixed bell peppers. These over here are baby bell peppers, little mini bell peppers. Look how beautiful that is. And that is as big as it's gonna get. Here I have some edamame. Like I said in my last video, it was spotty, and I did get the seed in and I replanted it. So hopefully we'll have a big row of edamame here. Now this next row of tomatoes are the ones that I put eggs under. So just see if you can tell the difference in these. Look at the size of these, and look, they're already producing, and I already need to trellis these. Some of them I already have, but I need to trellis them, put zip ties and trellis them up. But look, so many tomatoes, and these stalks are nice and strong, and they're bright green. These are just beautiful. They've done so well. Look, I think this is a Brad's Atomic Grape here. And then on this side, we're a little bit puny because these also are ones I did not put eggs under. And you can really tell, man, it's crazy the difference. I will always do that. And if you look here, look at these ground cherries. These are gonna be delicious. These are Makayla's favorite. She loves ground cherries. My contender beans are still going strong. And look at this little guy. Hello, little one. I've got these little baby green beans all over. I'm so ready. This is gonna be a great feeling to get to come out here and pick green beans and put them on the table. Here we have our sweet peppers, and they are doing better than our other peppers. And I even have several. Looky here. This is a Lisa pepper. Yum. I'm not sure what this little guy is. I'll have to look at my chart to see. But they've got some peppers there. This trellis here is sunset runner beans, and as you can see, I already have some latched to the trellis. These are about to take off. And then down here, I've got some different varieties of squash. See some coming up here. And there's my biggest one over here. And some more squash down here. I've got zucchinis and yellow crookneck squash and little grenade squash and all sorts of little griller squash. We can't wait to be munching on all that. Here are some pro-cut sunflowers. As you can see, the pests have been having a field day with these too. And over here are Mammoth Sunflowers. This trellis is cucumbers. And usually I have cucumbers running out of our ears, and you blink and you can grow cucumbers. But this year, I've had a lot of trouble with cucumbers. In fact, if you look here, on both sides of this, I only have one little bitty cucumber coming up. So I don't know what to do about this. I may have to just buy some cucumber plants from the store and put them on it, or put something else on this trellis, but I hate to not have cucumbers. I love to pickle. There's some okra. And here are Makayla's flowers. We've got zinnias and we've got basil and all sorts of stuff coming up. Sweet peas that are gonna latch onto this. This is our melon trellis, and these melons are coming up here. And they will come up across. And last week I mentioned that I replanted this corn, and looky there. It's coming up and doing great. And over here, last but not least, we have our spaghetti squash, which look like they're doing wonderfully well. I told you I'd take you inside and get a peek of Makayla's flowers. Let's go do that right now. Here are Makayla's zinnia bouquets that she is bringing to the farmer's market tomorrow. just a little bonus peek if you can see them. We've got guineas hatching. They're hard to see. There they are. Thank you so much for joining us on our garden tour. Be sure to like and subscribe to see more updates, and we'll see you next week for week 3 of our garden progress.